Hello Sparkles, I'm Jordan Jonah Sparks and welcome back to my channel. If you are brand new here, make sure to press the juicy red subscribe button underneath so that you never miss a video again. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something highly requested by everybody in my personal life and definitely Facebook friends and pretty much everybody that I meet that doesn't work in the film and television industry is super interested in this, and that is the top 20 famous people or actors, for the most part, that I have worked with in the past. So let's get to it. On the very first time I was ever on a set it was for a TV show that is called Covert Affairs. And the star that I got to work with on that show is called Perabo, and you may remember her from being the star of Coyote Ugly. And she was also the oldest sister in Cheaper by the Dozen. I worked with her on Covert Affairs. The next time that I was on a set, it was probably a week after that, and it was filming a feature film called I'll Follow You Down. And on that film, I met Gillian Anderson, who was Agent Scully on X-Files, if you watched that in the 90s, it is back on television or Netflix again. I also met Victor Garber, and Victor Garber plays Professor Callahan in Legally Blonde, if you've ever watched that. He's the one that is like the head of the firm that Elle Woods is on, and he makes like the sexual advances on her while they're alone in his office, and so she decides to quit. He was also in a bunch of musicals and on Broadway, I believe, and he's super fun. It was fun to meet. And the last celebrity I met on that movie was Haley Joel Osment, who you may not have seen in a really long time, but he was the little kid from The Sixth Sense. So the next star on my list is a well-known Canadian star, if you are also from Canada, and her name is Meg Apollo, and she was Anne of Green Gables, so Anne Shirley in the 1985 film miniseries of that, and she's most recently been Queen Catherine on Reign. I met her on Reign while I was playing a noble. So that is Megan Follows. I'm sure there's a lot of other people that were on Reign that I could go through, but I just decided to include her because she's Canadian and I'm Canadian, and she was Anne of Green Gables. Next on my list is Daniel Radcliffe, who you've probably heard me do a video or two about on this channel if you've been following me before, because I've definitely mentioned that. But I was working with Daniel Radcliffe on a movie called What If, or The F Word. Goes by both of those titles depending on what country you live in. He's a super hyperactive chain smoker, if you didn't know. Next on my list is Josh Gad. And if you're unfamiliar with Josh Gad, he was Elder Cunningham in the Broadway debut of The Book of Mormon, which is pretty much the best comedy musical of the last decade. He does lots of other comedy. He's most recently been playing LeFou in Beauty and the Beast, if you haven't seen that. LeFou is Gaston's little sidekick, and he's absolutely hilarious in that role, so you should see him. But I met Josh Gad working on Pixels a couple summers ago, which brings me to my next celebrity, who is Adam Sandler, who was the star of Pixels, / I think he also produced the movie. And yeah, I was doing a night scene as like a New York, Manhattan person downtown, and it was like a week long working in Pixels. I didn't actually meet Adam Sandler, but he was there on the movie. I saw him, but didn't get to meet him. The next on my list is the star of Pretty Woman, walking down the street. Well, just Pretty Woman. And that's Julia Roberts, working on a movie that is called Wonder. And I don't believe that it is out yet, but it is going to be out soon. She is a chain knitter, if you didn't know. That means that in between all of the takes and stuff, she would like whip out giant balls of yarn and start knitting her projects. And the other star that was working on that film that I bumped into, but I didn't get to talk to him or anything, again, pretty much the norm working as a background actor in film is that you don't get to talk to a lot of these people unless they come to talk to you. That's Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson was also in Wonder. Also this past summer, now that we're getting into some of the more recent people that I've worked with or met, Kenny Ortega. And Kenny Ortega was on my bucket list of people that I've wanted to work with for like 10 years, ever since I fell in love with High School Musical and everything Family Channel, and he directed the Jonas Brothers and Miley Cyrus and Michael Jackson, just saying. But I met Kenny Ortega on Descendants 2 this past summer as well. And on Descendants 2, that's also where I met Dove Cameron, who I've mentioned a couple times before in past videos. And she is a star of Building Maddie from Family Channel. I also met Cameron Boyce on Descendants 2, who stars alongside Debbie Ryan in Jesse on Family Channel, and he plays Luke Ross. And yeah, I met him on Descendants 2. I also met China Ann McLain on Descendants 2. She's also from Family Channel and Ant Farm and Descendants 1, and she's going to be in Descendants 2. I also met Sophia Carson and Mitchell Hope on Descendants 2. They're also the stars. I was kind of hoping that Kristen Chenoweth would be on the set for Descendants 2, but she didn't make it into the sequel, unfortunately. But she's still on my list of people that I am dying to meet. And after Descendants 2, I worked on The Flash and Supergirl, and it was like a combined crossover episode that aired a couple months ago, and on that I got to meet Grant Gustin. He came up and said hi when he was going home with his girlfriend. Anyways, Grant Gustin, who plays The Flash in The Flash. I worked with Jeremy Jordan on that crossover episode of The Flash and Supergirl, and Jeremy Jordan was the star of Newsies on Broadway. Love. And he was also Clyde in Bonnie and Clyde on Broadway, and he's on Supergirl. And of course, since it was a crossover episode of The Flash and Supergirl, then I was obviously working with Supergirl, and her name is Melissa Benoist, or Benoist. I honestly don't even know how to say her last name, but I worked with her. And then the most recent interesting people that I've worked with was on the cast of Riverdale. So I worked with my daddy doppelganger, as people like to call it, Luke Perry, and he was from 90210, and he plays Archie's dad on Riverdale. And I haven't got to meet him yet, but if I'm on again this season, I'm definitely hoping that I can meet him anyways. Every single time I leave the house lately, people are like, oh my god, you look just like Luke Perry in 90210, did you know that? And especially every single time when I'm on set, like every single person. I met Cole Sprouse on Riverdale. So that's one part of the Sprouse twins. That was super cool. That is the last person on this list. So that is the 20 people. I actually didn't even number it. I think there was 20 people on that list, but I'm not even sure. May have missed people, may have added extras, but those are 20-ish people that I have worked with since I started working in the film industry. If you liked this video, please make sure to comment below. I also have a video that is the top 5 famous people that I have met. This wasn't necessarily people that I worked with, but this is people that I've actually got to meet and talk to. So if you want to watch that video, it is also on my channel. And as always, remember to be weird, be wild, and stay sparkly, and press the red subscribe button so that you never miss a video again. Okay, bye!